Welcome back. I'm Felix, and I'm doing one of the a-hole stories. This is okay story time. I haven't done one in a while, in a couple weeks, so I figured I'd do one. This one, my wife invited her old hookup to our house without telling me. No, don't do that. If you stayed, I'm trying to think what would be okay with that. If you stayed friends with them even after you met your spouse, that's one thing. But if you just ran into them, invite them back over, nah, don't do that. That's messed up. But let's see what the whole story is. Let's see what's going on. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's get into it.
My wife invited her old hookup to our house without telling me.
That's awkward.
I had an argument with my wife last night, and it's been eating me up to the point I cannot focus at work. By the way, this comes from user throwaway K62. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
We're here to give some good advice, but we're a little goofy about it. So it's not always going to be the best or the most correct. And that's okay, because honestly, follow your heart. And also, you might know more than us. And also, don't follow your heart if it's telling you to do bad things. Anyway, just let us know in the comments what you would do in this situation. And OP says, I, 35 male, have been married to my wife Jane, 33 female, for 7 years. We have a wonderful marriage and 2 incredible kids. Jane is gorgeous, not just in the I love my wife and think she's beautiful way, but also in the she looks like she could be in magazines way. She gets a lot of attention from men, but always shuts it down quickly. Now, the issue. Jane recently reconnected with an old college friend, Lewis, 32 male, who lives in our city. They followed each other on Instagram a few years ago and have been DMing since. Recently, I have noticed it happening more often. Last night, we had a game night at our place, and Jane invited Lewis, as he likes board games too. When he arrived, Jane ran to greet him, and they hugged for, in hindsight, a really long time. He also had his hands on her hips for a minute or so while they exchanged pleasantries. During the games, they were sat next to each other and were side-chatting and giggling with each other. He was also fairly handsy, touching her arm and upper back. Nothing overtly spicy, but it made me uncomfortable. Later, everyone split into groups.
Kind of wondering, I know the story's not over yet, but did he talk to her about it afterwards? That's definitely something I would bring up. Like, he was kind of handsy with you there. And if she blows me off, then it's like, yeah, there's red flags everywhere. That'd be the test. If she just blows you off, like you're overreacting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's something more. I'm sorry, but there's probably something more going on.
Talking to Lewis, and he was very nice and chill. We actually have a lot of interests in common. On my way to the restroom, I overheard one of Jane's friends say, "Oh my God, he's gorgeous." And Jane giggled and responded with a playful stop. I'm not proud of this, but I eavesdropped and confirmed they were talking about Lewis. After everyone left and we were getting ready for bed, I talked to Jane while she was doing her skincare. I told Jane that his behavior really came across as inappropriate and flirty. Jane got upset and said, he's from a different culture. He's Latino and we are from Asian backgrounds. And they are more touchy. I told her she was naive if she thought he wasn't flirting with her or testing the waters before he made a move. She got really upset and said she was really offended by what I was implying. She gave me her phone and she told me to go through all the Instagram DMs if I wanted. I'm a bit ashamed to say I did, and there's nothing abnormal about them. Oh my God, because no one knows how to delete messages. Woo. He did respond that she looked beautiful to one of her stories once, but that was about 3 months ago, and that's about as forward as it got. I don't know what came over me, but then I asked if they were ever intimate when they knew each other in college. She said they slept together once, 12 or 13 years ago after a party. She then said, I don't want to talk about this or to you right now, and we went to sleep.
She's lying. There's something more. I'm sorry. I just feel like there's something more. If this is how she's truly responding, she's being defensive. Way too defensive.
The atmosphere was cold and tense this morning in our house, and I am really worried that I overreacted. You guys think my concerns are valid? How would you best approach the subject? I obviously handled it poorly. Comment 1. She invited a guy she boinked over the family home without your knowledge. A heads up to her husband before doing so would have been nice.
Yeah.
But the only reason she probably didn't is because that fact definitely throws a wrench into her projected, purely platonic image she wants you to have of him. Trust your instincts. Just because the chats looked clean doesn't mean things weren't deleted or they couldn't also talk somewhere else. Not saying she is cheating, but it's always a possibility. Especially with what you observed. The long hug, the hands on the hips, the touchy hands, her friends fawning over him, etc. To go into someone else's home and behave like that with their spouse is despicable. I am a very flirty and affectionate person who was a real mutt when I was younger, and even I have never behaved like that with a married woman, especially not in their home. You have a right.
Yeah. My instincts are screaming. Like, if I saw a guy doing that with my wife let it slide, I'm pulling the guy to the side and be like, hey, what's up with you and my wife? And if he tries to play it off, I want to be like, and I know how to gouge out eyes. You stay away from my wife. Then I'm going to go have a talk with my wife and be like, hey, that's not okay. Don't you ever do that again in my home. It's just, yeah, don't do that. That's so messed up on so many levels. Other way around, if you're the guy inviting a girl over doing all that and your wife decides to confront the woman and confront you, you got no leg to stand on because you messed up. So yeah, people don't do that. And if you're unhappy in your marriage, first talk to your spouse. Don't just immediately go, I'm going to go cheat. And I don't get that mentality of people using it as an excuse to go cheat. Don't do that. If you're unhappy, talk to them. And if you feel like the marriage is over, leave.
To feel the way that you do after she hid their history from you and behaved the way they did. You are allowed to share your feelings and concerns in a relationship. Did you come on a little strong? Sure, who wouldn't after what they just observed and only recently discovered? Now she wants to play the silent treatment game. That's cool, as two can play that childish BS. She isn't totally innocent in all this. Stand up for yourself and mimic her actions if she doesn't want to talk by ignoring her right back. Wait her out until she comes back to you. Eventually she will get to thinking, as women usually do. Her emotions will get to her and she will approach you. It never fails. I hate that advice. Yeah. Oh, she's doing the...
Yeah. No, don't do that advice. If she's playing a silent treatment game with you, if anyone's playing a silent treatment game with you, and you want to talk to them and tell them up front, if they're not willing to answer, then you're going to fill in the answers yourself. And they have a choice. They can either speak up or they can stay quiet and you'll do what you need to do.
The silent treatment, you do the silent treatment.
That's worse communication than you guys were already having.
OP replies, I would like to clarify she is not giving me the silent treatment.
Okay.
Last night, she did cut the conversation short. This morning, she wasn't her usual warm and bubbly self. You could tell she was still upset, but she wasn't ignoring me. She was mostly dealing with the kids and making breakfast while I got ready for work. We talked a little bit. The kids were there, so I didn't want to even bring up the subject. She was giving me short answers, but she wasn't flat out ignoring me. She's a mature person. She's never done anything childish like that. You could tell she was still upset, but she wasn't being deliberately mean, or at least it didn't seem that way. A second comment says you had to drag out that they slept together after they were very clearly flirting and touching right in front of you in your own home. I'd be blowing this up in a huge way without hesitation or mercy. This is a huge problem, and it's completely unacceptable that she welcomed an ex-partner into your home without even telling you the whole story. I would be livid. Your gut sees it from a mile away. Trust yourself. A third comment. Just because it may be his culture doesn't mean it's okay.
Exactly. I hate that excuse. It's their culture. It's their culture. That doesn't make it okay. In some cultures, it's okay to execute a woman because she blinked funny. I'm not joking about that. Women in some cultures get executed over stupid stuff. That doesn't make it okay. Just because it's someone's culture doesn't make it okay. There's a lot of things that go on in people's cultures that is not okay. Especially if we're putting today's standards by it, yeah, it's not okay. Do not accept that as an answer.
I would approach your wife again and explain that from your view, his behavior was still inappropriate and that if roles were reversed, she would be upset as well. Explain that you're not looking for an argument, but at least an acknowledgement of your feelings and concerns. Comment 4, quoting, "Oh my God, he's gorgeous." And then Jane giggled and responded with a playful stop. That does it for me.
Yep.
And that he's an ex-partner. She should understand that this so-called friendship is inappropriate and disrespectful to you. Call an ex next time and invite them too. I actually really like that advice.
To do what?
Well, that only works if you're still friends with an ex. If you're on good terms with an ex, one, you also have to make sure your ex is on board with it. You have to explain to them what's going on. Because unless you're still flirty like that with your ex, that's not going to work. And it's quite possible your ex is going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. I wouldn't do it. Like if an ex-girlfriend called me and say, hey, I need you to come over and flirt with me. Like, no. Flirt with you in front of your man? No, I'm good. Because first off, I don't know your man. He could be a psycho. What if he decides to pull a gun? I'm not doing that. No. That's bad advice. I'm sorry. That is bad advice. Now, if you want to hire an escort and get her to pretend to be an ex, that's different.
But like, just invite an ex over. Don't tell your wife about it. And
That's
then
the same as giving the silent treatment back.
But
That's
then you just see
as
how
petty.
she responds.
That's just as petty as silent treatment
Yeah,
back.
I like that one though.
I don't.
I'm
like that.
on the record as liking that.
Have
That's
better
bad.
communication.
And don't have it
Don't
be,
petty.
Don't cheat on your wife
Don't
with,
be
with
petty.
her, but yeah, invite her over. And then when your
No.
wife's mad, you go, oh, so it's not okay, huh? Do that. Do that 100 times. Do that 10,000 times. Do it 100,000 times. Comment 5, your wife brought her former spicy partner that she's kept in contact with into your home, where he felt so totally at ease touching her as he did in front of you, in your home. That's not culture, that's rubbing his bouch in your face. There's a reason for that level of confidence. This exchange between your wife and her friends that I quoted, her friends knew all about this former spicy partner, and were, as another poster said, acted like high school girls teasing your wife about her new man. They knew about him while you didn't even have a clue. Apart from a gut instinct that everything was wrong about this guy, and until your wife got flustered and dropped possibly the most minimized admission ever.
Well, that's what I was saying at the beginning. If she just brushes you off, something's going on. She may not have cheated yet, but she's definitely thinking about it. She is definitely thinking about it. He needs to stay on guard.
Time wasted after a party, okay. Her friends know better. That's where the confidence from him came from. He knows you've been kept in the dark about your wife and him, regardless if they've started sleeping with each other again yet. He knows that she lies to you about him and will happily disrespect you by bringing him, her former spicy partner, into your home under false pretenses. That's cheating even if they aren't sleeping together yet. Your wife is disrespecting you to this clown. Don't take it anymore. There's a good reason she and the clown aren't married. They're no good at it, and she knows it. So she can be married or keep up contact with former partners that would run a mile if she so much as thinks commitment. Wouldn't that be something to laugh about with the girls? Something for their partners to ponder over as well? Absolutely nothing fun or exciting about all that, though. Don't allow her to set the terms. Don't accept the inevitable controlling insecure, won't let me have friends garbage that she's going to throw at you. She has far more to lose than you. Good luck. And there's an update.
So yeah, if she hasn't cheated, she's thinking about it. She is 100% thinking about it. Because if they lost contact and then they started chatting again, I mean, he didn't know they were partners until he asked her. And yeah, why would you invite that person over and then giggle about it with your friends? There's red flags all over the place with that one. You need to be careful. Like I said, he needs to stay on guard. Note everything. I would note everything. I would start keeping track of everything. And if she said, "Oh, you're being paranoid," I was like, "Geez, I wonder why I'm being paranoid." Like, don't let that person trick you into thinking that you're overreacting, because you're not. In fact, just from what this guy typed out, I think you're underreacting. You need to, like one says, stand up for yourself. I definitely need to stand up for yourself and let her know you're not going to put up with this crap.
Jenny FaceTimed me at work and asked if we could talk. I was finishing something I wanted to wrap up, and I wanted to gather my thoughts before I spoke to her, so I asked if we could speak when I got home. The anticipation ended up getting the better of me, and I just FaceTimed her back like 20 minutes later. She started by apologizing and saying she's sorry if a boundary was crossed. She told me Lewis and her have always acted this way with each other, but what may have been cool when they were 19 or 20 and they had a friendship that always had a spark of spicy tension doesn't have to be the dynamic they have now, and she thinks they fell back into familiar patterns. She says she called him this morning and spoke to him, and he was very apologetic and told her to please tell me he's sorry and he didn't mean to do anything inappropriate. She said it would probably be best if they scaled back on contact for a bit, as she didn't want her marriage affected by their friendship. He said he understood and that he was okay with it. She then went on to explain that she doesn't see him that way anymore and doesn't think he sees her that way either. She says they're good friends, and in her words, sure, he's attractive, but we are not spicy 19-year-olds anymore. I value our family and our relationship too much to have any interest in anyone else. I still don't...
I'm glad she came to her senses, but part of me wonders, did she come to her senses or someone pointed out to her? Because a lot of times, the fact that she was so defensive in the beginning, and it's possible she had time to stop and think and realize, oh, I did screw up. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She came to this on her own conclusion, realizing she screwed up by not being honest. She got way too defensive, and she realized, oh, I screwed up. I need to fix this. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She realized her marriage is in jeopardy because of what she did, and she loves her husband, and she realized, I better fix this ASAP. So I'm going to say happy ending. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad she came to her senses. I'm glad she realized she screwed up. You'll see so many videos where women don't take accountabilities, and in this case, it sounds like she 100% took accountability for her actions. Although I don't like the fact where may have crossed the boundary. That was poor wording on her side. And then again, maybe that's not how she stated it. Maybe that's how he stated it. Again, we don't have the actual conversation. We just have him paraphrasing. So, it's possible to say maybe she said she didn't realize the boundary was crossed. But either way, she's taking accountability. So, a win, a win's a win. But it should never happen in the first place. Clearly, she wasn't thinking. But at least she came to her senses.
Like that explanation.
I mean, I'm not gonna jump to divorce over this, though. It would just be like a cautious rebuilding of trust over time.
Yeah, but this is just making me ask more questions. You're like, okay, so he is attractive, but if you were still 19, you'd leave me for him? Or like if you were still young, if you didn't have a family?
Nah, that's too much. You're going too deep into this. Like I said, a win's a win. She's realized she messed up. They're scaling back their friendship. The other guy realized, oh, I went too far. That's my bad. If the other guy really did do all that and realized, oh, I'm not trying to get in the middle of that. I'm not trying to win her back. My apologies. That's awesome. But otherwise, all this other stuff, like, if we were 19, you would leave me? It's like, no, you're not 19. So don't even think that. If the guy starts thinking that, he's going to just be so paranoid, he's never going to trust her ever again.
Who cares about if she was still 19?
No, but it's not about the if 19. It's the second part where she says, I value our family and our relationship too much to have any interest in anyone else. But it's like...
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I know she's saying good things, but it just makes me bring up like...
I'm just glad they're finally
So it is there. Like the urge to be like, ooh, like maybe I could be with this like really hot guy I used to be with.
I think he's reading too much into it. Hold on a second. I want to see if there's any more. Let me see. Let me just get through here. I want to jump ahead. Is there more? Okay. Before he starts, the reason I jumped ahead is I think he's looking for an excuse for the marriage to come to an end. So I want to jump across that and just move on to the next part. But yeah, the defensive part, this is what I want to know. Why does she get so defensive? So let's find out.
She says that it caught her off guard in the moment because to her I was questioning her commitment to our marriage after what, from her perspective, was a harmless night of fun with friends. She says it felt like she had a friend that was male and I acted with jealousy, and that really didn't sit right with her. She did say after that she does understand how it all looks from my perspective and that she should have been more understanding instead of leaping into defense mode. I asked her why she never told me they had spicy sleep. She says, we don't really discuss our spicy histories with each other, and it was so long ago that it didn't feel super relevant since there is no interest in revisiting that from either side, and that she honestly didn't think it would ever come up and didn't want to make things awkward. I also asked about the conversation I overheard. She wasn't aware I knew about it, but she asked, how much did you hear? I told her about what I heard, and she says the full context is that her friend Megan was asking her about him and if he was single, etc., etc. Megan is recently divorced and has been dating around casually since her split from her ex last year. She's jokingly referred to in our friend group as the spicy friend. Lewis is apparently in a newish relationship, and Megan was apparently making jokes throughout the night about how she was going to go for it anyways because she found him so charming. So what I overheard was apparently one of those instances where Megan was talking about how she wanted to get with him and my wife was playfully telling her to stop. I asked why she didn't invite Lewis's girlfriend as well, and she says she simply didn't think to. Really? Neither of you thought to invite... Lewis didn't think to invite his own girlfriend to a party?
That's weirder on Lewis's part.
Yeah.
This is more for Lewis's intentions, in my opinion.
It really feels like both of you knew exactly what was happening.
I was wondering, though, if the overheard conversation was the friend trying to get with him. That has been in my head for the whole story.
That can
That could be true. But yeah. Now, here's why it may not be as bad as they think with the girlfriend, Lewis's girlfriend. They said it was a new relationship. Maybe Lewis isn't to that point where he wants her to meet his friends. That is a possibility. How new is the relationship? So if it's like if I just started dating a girl, I'm not necessarily going to take her to every little gathering, because I'm still getting to know her myself. And then once I get to know her, I'll be like, okay, now I'll introduce you to my friends. I think if you introduce people to the friends early on, and then all of a sudden you break up, what if they become friends with your friends, and now you'll have to see that person all the time? So a lot of people don't introduce their girlfriends or boyfriends to the friend group right away. They wait a while, then make sure it's going to go somewhere, because otherwise if it turns out it's just a couple days relationship, there's no point. Time to move on.
That makes logical sense. However, I don't like the amount of like weird little excuses and nuances that are in here where it's like, oh, well, neither of us thought to invite his girlfriend to a party that he's going to.
Also, when our friend is talking about how hot he is and how she wants to hook up with him, and we just acknowledge that he has a girlfriend, did we not say, like, well, he has a girlfriend?
Yeah, and it's like, stop. But, like, stop. Because that's gross.
Actually, stop, because he has a partner.
You're a gross person if you want to be a homewrecker. I will say, I did see some DMs talking about the girlfriend last night on her phone, so it is definitely a real relationship, just one that isn't super serious yet. I explained my side of the story, that I was made to feel very uncomfortable and that I feel like her reconnecting with an old flame and then not letting me know before inviting him over was a big betrayal of trust.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask if there was more to their relationship than I'm aware of. Have they been talking to each other, going out, possibly even an affair? But I didn't ask because I was honestly afraid that she would say that they've had spicy sleep recently or something. She said she understands where I'm coming from. I said I think this incident will take some time to get over and that it's probably best if Lewis isn't around for a bit. She said that was fine and that our marriage is the main priority. I asked about maybe going through couples therapy and she said it was a good idea. She said our communication and boundaries clearly needed to be better defined so we don't accidentally hurt each other. So that's kind of it. We will look at therapists tonight once the kids are in bed probably. I love my wife and I am choosing to believe that she's still the good person I got married to. I think her being willing to scale back on her friendship and go to therapy are all signs that she didn't knowingly do anything improper and wants to focus on making things better. A lot of you jumped straight to divorce, and I understand if you're reading the above about a stranger why that would be your reaction, but there's so much about her that is amazing and I want to fight for that. An additional note, I received a few DMs asking about our financial situation, implying that she's having an affair and using me to provide for her. I work in finance and she is a stay-at-home mom. I make very good money and I am the sole provider, and I am fine with that. She doesn't need me financially, though. She comes from a wealthy family, I do as well, and money wouldn't be a concern for her in case of divorce. I just wanted to provide some additional context to people that think she's with me for the money or something. And there are some comments here. Comment 1 says, not telling you they had spicy sleep was convenient. It makes him an ex, not a friend. That's complete.
So, yeah. I wasn't jumping to divorce, but I was jumping to, if she's not changed, she was thinking about it. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt in that she realizes she screwed up and that she wants to go to therapy. Like I said, we don't know if the ex actually said all that stuff. Hopefully he did. And again, as for not inviting the girlfriend, they said it was a new relationship. So it's quite possible he just didn't think to invite her because it's a new relationship. But yeah, I don't know how many more comments. Oh, there's an update. Update 2. Oh man, this one goes on for a bit. Okay. Let's keep going.
Hid it from you on purpose. She knows that you wouldn't have been okay with it. Also, the fact that you're afraid your wife might have had spicy sleep with him recently is not good.
No, it's not.
You don't feel safe in your marriage. Comment 2, quoting OP, doesn't think he sees her that way either. Yeah, your wife is naive if she really thinks Lewis doesn't want to nail her again. Lewis absolutely wants her, as was shown by his actions. She needs a reality check, and if she is as beautiful as you say, virtually every man would want the same thing, even if it is just a fantasy. I will also say, given the context that Lewis is in a relationship and it's relatively new, and then he goes to a previous fling's place without bringing his current girlfriend, yeah, that's exactly what Lewis wants.
You think? I mean, I don't know a
100%.
boy's or man's mind, but in my eyes, it was maybe just too soon to introduce to friends.
That's what I was just saying. That if it depending on how new the relationship is, I wouldn't necessarily take my girlfriend with me. If I'm going to hang out with my friends, I'm not taking her. Like let's say we've only been dating for 2 or 3 days. I'm not bringing her along. Not yet. I don't know her well enough to introduce to my friends. Let's say my friends have crude sense. Most of the guys I hung around when I was younger all had crude sense of humor. I mean, very crude. Borderline misogynist, racist, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I wouldn't subject my girlfriend to that just because I haven't gotten to know her sense of humor. Then to come find out her sense of humor is not on par with their sense of humor, they're not going to get along. And that's why I would want to get to know her first.
Well, I mean, but it's like, it's so like low,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. It's just like,
I
yeah.
wonder, like, the heads up that she was given if Lewis's girlfriend was told, like, hey, here's the situation kind of thing.
Well, it's like I shouldn't bring my girlfriend to the house with the woman who I'm still interested in. And then he's like, oh, yeah, no, sure. Oh, yeah, no, you don't want to ruin your marriage. Yeah, no, we'll stop talking. Yeah, I guess I got to be in that relationship that I'm in, huh? Okay. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah,
there's
a
too
lot
much
of weird
of-
stuff.
there's too much, like, of a lack of any level of, like, common sense from either of them for everyone to be innocent.
Yeah.
Someone has to be a little guilty here. But anyway, comment number 3. So she won anyway. She disrespected you by bringing someone she had spicy sleep with into your home without your knowledge, let him touch her inappropriately in front of you, and now things are okay because you never discussed past relationships. Come on. She'll just hide their interactions better. She'll keep him around anyway. The same way she hid their past from you is the way she'll act during therapy sessions. If she can hide things from you, she obviously can and will hide from the therapist too. Good luck living your life knowing the woman you decided to marry will never respect you or your marriage enough not to lie, omit, or...
I don't know about all that. Because marriages can't recover from this. Lots of marriages have recovered from cheating too. It all depends on if you want to save the marriage or not. If you've been unhappy for a long time and then you discover your spouse has been cheating, yeah, there's no saving it. But if it's just out of blue, you discover your spouse has been cheating, it's like, wait, what happened that you decided to cheat? What's going on? And if they're talking, if their excuses, oh, you're never around, it's like, you never say anything about me not being around. You got to remind them you're not a mind reader. So, all right, let's see what the update 2 is.
And I spoke again at length last night. We found a therapist we both liked, and we will have our first session next Monday. She gave me a little bit more background into her state of mind. She says none of this was really conscious on her end, but this event has forced her to analyze her own thoughts more deeply. She's very happy with life overall, but she feels unfulfilled at times. She loves being a mom, and she loves me and our 2 boys.
Get a job. Sorry. I hate that excuse. I feel unfulfilled. Get a job. Get a hobby. Find something to do. Don't go having an affair. And I will be honest. Majority of the time, it's always a woman that says this. It's like, if you're unfulfilled, one, speak up. Tell your spouse, hey, I feel unfulfilled in this marriage. I love you and I love the kids, but I want to do more. And then most likely your spouse would be like, get a job. Get a hobby. Start a business. You know, you guys got the money to do it. She could start a business. But that doesn't give you the right to go ahead and start communicating with an ex and to feel validated. So yeah, don't do that crap. Don't use that as an excuse. That's lame. That's stupid.
Feeling a bit of an identity crisis. She realized recently that she doesn't really have much going on outside of being a mom. She doesn't have any hobbies, doesn't really have time to pursue any interests, and doesn't go out as much as she used to pre-kids. Talking to her friend just felt very casual, and it reminded her of a time in her life that was simpler with fewer responsibilities. She is often too focused on being a homemaker and a mother, so she feels like a lot of choices she makes are based on what is best for the family instead of for her. She understands that becoming parents is a choice we made, and she doesn't regret it at all, but she does feel like she has lost herself a bit. Her friend saw her as Jane from college, not as Kid 1 and Kid 2's mom or as my wife, and that was nice. She told me she wishes they hadn't slept together back in the day because reconnecting really wasn't about that at all. It was about having space to be just Jane. She reiterated that there was never any romantic interest from her and that he hasn't expressed any either. And by the way, I'll express that you can listen to full episodes of stories like this one on your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. What the heck is this lady doing? Why isn't she owning it? She's saying all the right stuff, and she could mean all of it. But man, why aren't we owning this? She lied. She hasn't admitted that she lied. She hasn't apologized for lying to him.
Yeah.
And she's got, oh, it was unconscious.
Yeah.
What a stupid cop-out.
I really hope that therapy helps her figure her crap out and start admitting to things.
Gotta own it. When you do something wrong, you gotta own it. You're doing, you're halfway. You're like, I did something wrong.
Sadly, I will agree with him. Because I haven't really been agreeing with him on everything, but in this, she really hasn't apologized for that. Based on what we have here, she hasn't apologized for what she did. She's admitting what she did was wrong, but she hasn't apologized. She hasn't like really said, I'm sorry for doing this. I should have been better or something. Nowhere in this. Now, if she has, he hasn't told us. But yeah, she's making excuses, is what it sounds like. Like I said, the unfulfilled crap, no, that's just an excuse. You think if you say that he'll be like, oh, okay, that's perfectly fine. I hate that excuse. I really do.
But I was essentially sleepwalking, and also being a mom is really hard, and I don't feel like I have an identity anymore, so it was totally fine for me to basically flirt with another man directly in front of you around all of our friends.
I'll be honest with you, I never understood that whole I'm a mom, I don't know who I am argument, because there's tons of women who are stay-at-home moms and they're perfectly fine with it. They have a life. They have hobbies. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you have like a 5-story house that you clean top to bottom every day? You have no interest. You have no. What are you doing? Like I said, there are tons of women out there who do it all the time and are perfectly happy. So for the ones that aren't able to do this, what are you doing wrong? That would be my question. Then also there are men who do it now. There's tons of men who do it, and stay-at-home fathers, and they have hobbies. They go and find stuff to do. They take care of all the chores and everything. They're like, oh, time for my hobby. So it's like, whenever I hear, that's why I say it's a cop-out when they say unfulfilled. It's like, you've chosen to be unfulfilled. Like, what are you doing that you feel unfulfilled? Are you volunteering for too much crap? Because I'll see that too. Like, I'll see moms and dads volunteer for way too much crap. Like, you don't have to volunteer for every little thing that's going on at your kid's school. You really don't. So, yeah, so that's something I kind of wonder, like, is that why she feels unfulfilled? Because everything revolves around the kids? It doesn't have to. Set aside time for yourself. Set aside like an hour. If the kids are in school, set aside time for yourself. You know, before you even start doing the chores around the house, take an hour off. Relax. Do something for yourself. And then go do the chores. Or do the chores, and then when it's time for your break, take an hour for yourself. 2 hours. There's no time limit. There's no real time limit. It's your home. Just relax. The kids aren't going anywhere. Chores aren't going anywhere. Husband's not going anywhere. He sounds like he's happy. Just relax.
No.
Other good things to talk about in therapy too, about like refining an identity post mom and like maybe helping out with that. But like we can't keep it's not even trickle truthing. It's just like trickle kind of admitting to things. Like just talk about it.
And
please.
I don't know, some of those issues, it's like, based on everything I've heard in the story, they seem very fixable. Like, I don't have time to have hobbies or like do other stuff. It's like,
that's a common thing that you hear, though.
I'm sure you do, though, because OP works in finance. You guys have so much money.
But she's a stay-at-home mom. She's stuck at home with the kids all day.
No, but I'm saying
she probably
you can take the kids wherever.
That's still being a mom, though. It's a very
Get a babysitter. Hire a babysitter. Hire a nanny. If you guys really have all this money, hire a nanny, hire a babysitter, and then go do stuff. Put them in daycare. I know a lot of people are scared to put their kids in daycare because of the horror stories. That's not every daycare. That's not every nanny. That's not every babysitter. But I still understand. But with that said, there are options. And I don't know how young, I don't remember how young the kids are. But even so, let's say the kids aren't in school yet. Put them in daycare. Put them in, get a nanny. If the grandparents are around, see if the grandparents will watch it for a while so you can go do something. So, yeah, that's what I said. That unfulfilled crap is a cop-out.
Problem to hear about in therapy about like moms feeling like they've lost their identity when they have kids.
Well,
I'm just saying I don't know the relevance of it to being like, and then I totally forgot everything I was doing and falling. Like, no, I don't think that makes you like pseudo start to cheat, but like that is something to know about and be aware of and potentially work on.
When it comes to the kids, 100%. I just meant like any other responsibility, like chores. Anyway, she apologized again for letting things get to a stage
so she
that was
did
inappropriate
apologize.
And that made me feel uncomfortable. We will be working through her feelings and finding ways to make sure she has time and space to still be a person outside of a wife and mother. We are both happy with choices we have made on how to move forward. Thank you to everyone who replied and provided insight and advice. Even the posts I disagreed with were helpful as they helped me realize this relationship is definitely where I want to be. And that is the end of that story.
Okay. So, like I said, I didn't agree with everything he was saying, but the OP did say she apologized. So, that's the big thing. She apologized, she realized she was wrong, and she took accountability. From everything OP was saying, it's not like the marriage can be saved, but the wife does need to reevaluate how she handled the situation. I don't recommend therapy for everyone, but therapy can work for a lot of people. So if therapy is the way you want to go, you both agree to it, go for it. But if you both don't agree to therapy, it's not going to work. So even if you decide to go to therapy by yourself and the spouse doesn't, it's not going to fix your marriage. It might fix you, but it's not going to fix the marriage. So then if they don't agree to it, then you have to come up with another solution. And the other solution would be to let them know, hey, you need to start talking to me about what's going on. Like, I'm not a mind reader. Let me know what's going on, and we can fix it together. But with that said, it sounds like the marriage is going to be okay. She made some dumb decisions. She went down a path she shouldn't have. And Now she realizes, oh, I screwed up. And she apologized. And then as for the people screaming for divorce, like I said, divorce is not always the answer. Marriages can survive this, but it takes the spouse who did the error to admit they erred. The person who screwed up needs to admit they screwed up, and the other spouse has to be willing to forgive you. So those are two things if you want to save your marriage. Both parties have to be willing to want to save the marriage. If just one wants to save it, it's not going to work. But overall, it sounds like he did the right thing. Now, in the beginning, it sounded like he wasn't standing up for himself, but I'm glad he did stand up for himself eventually, and I'm glad she took accountability for her actions. So that's why I think this marriage could be saved. And as for the unfulfilled reason for her doing it, it's not a good enough excuse. She should have talked to her husband and said, hey, I'm not happy. Because the truth is, she wasn't happy. That's what it boils down to. She was unhappy. She didn't know how to communicate that. And she admits their communication needs to be better. So she should have communicated, hey, I'm unhappy. Can you help me with this? And it sounds like he was more than willing to help. So yeah, like I said, don't immediately jump to divorce in situations like this, because I still think she was on the verge of cheating. And I think when her husband called her out on it, it made her realize, oh, I'm making a huge mistake. So lucky enough, it snapped her out of it. But if your first reaction was to get divorced over this, your marriage was doomed already. You were unhappy in the marriage, and you saw this as your out. So he didn't see it as his out. He saw it as, oh, she's unhappy, and she didn't know how to tell me. So let's go to therapy so we can work on our communication. That's how I feel he saw it. So I think he wants to save his marriage. She wants to save the marriage. She realized she messed up. And I think they're going to be all right. All right, everyone. I'll leave a link so you can watch more. They got some more stories that they're going to tell, so I'll leave a link so you guys can watch the rest. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and everyone take care. Later.